The vast meeting chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from over 300 advanced civilizations gathered for an emergency session. The massive crystal dome above showed the swirling colors of deep space, a view that usually brought calm to the assembled delegates. But not today. High Counselor Reed of Earth sat quietly in his chair, his weathered face betraying no emotion as whispers and worried glances darted his way. The other species had always viewed humans as the younger, more primitive race in the Council. They tolerated Earth's presence mainly because of ancient treaties and the planet's rich resources. But everything changed 3 days ago. It started with a simple message from Earth: all children under the age of 12 have vanished. No explosions. No warnings. No traces. Just empty beds, vacant playgrounds, and silence where laughter used to be. The council chamber fell silent as first speaker Knox, a tall being with crystalline features, approached the central podium. "We are gathered here today to address an unprecedented situation," their melodic voice echoed through the chamber. For the first time in recorded galactic history, an entire age group of a species has disappeared simultaneously. Reed's hands tightened on his armrests, the only visible sign of his internal struggle. The past 3 days had been hell. Parents had stopped going to work. Schools stood empty. Parks were abandoned. But most disturbing of all, the entire human race had fallen completely silent. No music played on Earth anymore. No celebrations. No casual conversation. Just purposeful, quiet determination as every human focused on a single goal: finding their children. "Our preliminary investigations have found no natural phenomenon that could cause such an event," Knox continued. "We must consider the possibility of deliberate action." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had all heard about humanity's response to the crisis. The usually chatty, emotional species had transformed overnight. Their communications had become brief and coldly efficient. Their military movements were precise and coordinated. Their scientists worked in perfect synchronization across the globe. An aide hurried to Knox, bringing urgent news. The first speaker's crystalline features flickered with concern as they read the message. "We have just received word that Earth has mobilized its entire fleet. Every ship. Every soldier. Every resource." Reed finally stood, his voice carrying across the chamber without raising it. "We request the Council's full cooperation in our investigation." His words were measured, but everyone present felt the underlying steel in them. "We will find our children. And we will find who took them." The chamber erupted in worried discussions. They had always dismissed humans as primitive because of their emotional nature, their attachment to tradition, their seemingly inefficient ways of doing things. Now, as they watched the entire species move with single-minded focus and cold efficiency, many wondered if they had gravely misunderstood what humans were capable of when pushed too far. As Reed left the chamber, he received a message from Earth Command: "The silence protocol is in effect. All civilian activities suspended. All resources diverted to the search. The galaxy will learn why taking our children was their greatest mistake." The first speaker watched him leave, a chill running through their crystalline form. Perhaps, they realized, it wasn't humanity's emotional nature that made them primitive. Perhaps it was the fact that they had never before had reason to show their true capabilities. The Galactic Archives, usually a place of quiet study, now hummed with activity. Alien researchers worked frantically, searching through millions of records for any similar incidents in galactic history. They found none. In a secure room deep within the facility, Reed stood before a holographic display showing thousands of surveillance feeds from across Earth. Streets once filled with the sounds of playing children now showed only adults moving with military precision. Every human on Earth had been assigned to task forces: search, research, or support. "High Counselor," a voice called. Dr. Lin, Earth's leading xenobiologist, approached with a data tablet. "We've found something." Reed's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The display shifted to show energy readings from the day of the disappearance. Tiny quantum fluctuations had occurred simultaneously in every location where children vanished. The pattern was artificial, too precise to be natural. "Someone has mastered mass quantum transportation," Lin explained, her voice carrying the same controlled calm that all humans now shared. "But the technology required. It's beyond anything we've seen in the known galaxy." Reed processed this information silently. Humanity had been considered primitive partly because they hadn't mastered quantum transportation. Now it seemed someone had used this advanced technology against them. A message flashed across the display, deep space sensors detecting unusual activity in the outer rim. "Show me," Reed commanded again. The image changed to show a section of space that appeared empty at first glance. But as the sensors adjusted, they revealed something extraordinary, a massive distortion field, large enough to hide a small moon. "We've found similar distortions in 12 other locations," Lin reported. All appeared within hours of the children's disappearance. Reed's expression remained unchanged, but his eyes held a dangerous glint. "Send the coordinates to Earth Command. Prepare the fleet for deployment." In orbit above Earth, humanity's entire space fleet had assembled. Ships that once served commercial and scientific purposes had been rapidly converted for military use. The transformation had taken just 3 days, an impossible feat by any normal standard. But these were not normal times. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, First Speaker Knox received troubling reports. Human ships were moving with unprecedented coordination. Their usual chaotic, individualistic approach to space travel had been replaced by something far more efficient and deadly. "They've developed new weapons," an aide reported nervously. "They're adapting technology we thought they couldn't understand. It's like they've been holding back all this time." Knox watched the data streams with growing concern. The humans had always seemed to struggle with advanced technology, needing help with basic quantum mechanics and faster-than-light travel. But now, a message from Earth Command appeared on all Galactic Council screens: "To all civilizations, Earth has declared a state of total war. Any interference with our search will be met with immediate and decisive action. We are no longer bound by previous treaties or technological restrictions. You took our children. We will take back everything." In the archives, Reed studied the quantum fluctuation patterns one last time. Something about them seemed familiar, like a signature he should recognize. The answer was there, hidden in plain sight, just as humanity's true capabilities had been hidden all these years. "Dr. Lin," he said, his voice carrying the weight of revelation, "check the patterns against our own quantum research files. The ones we never shared with the Council." Lin's eyes widened slightly, the first real expression any human had shown in days. She understood immediately. The patterns matched theoretical work Earth had done decades ago but had kept secret, deemed too dangerous to share with races that already viewed them as primitive. Someone out there knew about humanity's hidden research. Someone had been watching. And now, they would learn why humans had chosen to hide their true potential for so long. The revelation shook the archives to its foundation. Earth's secret quantum research hadn't just matched the kidnappers' technology, it had predicted it. Decades ago, human scientists had theorized this exact method of mass transportation, then buried the research so deep that even most of Earth's government didn't know it existed. "Play it again," Reed ordered, watching the historical footage from 20 years ago. On the screen, a younger version of himself stood before the World Council, arguing passionately. "We cannot reveal the full extent of our quantum understanding. The galaxy isn't ready. More importantly, we aren't ready." Dr. Lin worked furiously at her console, comparing the old research with the current data. "The patterns are identical, sir." Whoever took our children used our own theoretical technology against us. But they modified it, made it more efficient. A new alert flashed across their screens. One of Earth's deep space probes had detected something near the largest distortion field, a quantum signature that didn't match any known species. Reed's eyes narrowed. Magnify that section. The image zoomed in, revealing a massive structure hidden within the distortion. It wasn't a ship or a station, it was a school. A spaceborne facility designed to house and teach thousands of children. They're not just kidnapping them, Lynn whispered, her controlled facade cracking slightly. They're collecting them. Earth Command's response was immediate. The entire human fleet, now armed with weapons based on their hidden research, began moving toward the coordinates. But something was wrong. The ship's quantum sensors detected similar facilities appearing and disappearing across the galaxy, using transportation technology that seemed to mock their own capabilities. In the Galactic Council chamber, panic erupted as reports came in from multiple sectors. Human ships were everywhere, moving with impossible speed and precision. Species that had once dismissed Earth as a backwater world now watched in horror as humanity demonstrated technologies they shouldn't have had. First Speaker Knox called an emergency session. We demand an explanation. These capabilities violate dozens of treaties. Reed's hologram appeared before the council, his voice colder than space itself. Those treaties assumed we were primitive. You never asked why we accepted such limiting terms. You never questioned why a species capable of reaching the stars would struggle with basic quantum mechanics. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't been struggling, they had been hiding, waiting, preparing for something. But what? Back on Earth, in a hidden facility deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Lin made another discovery. Sir, I've found something in the quantum signatures. There's a pattern within the pattern, like a message. The data streamed across their screens, and Reed's expression changed for the first time in days. It wasn't anger or surprise, it was recognition. It's not a message, he said quietly. It's a warning. From ourselves. Lin looked up sharply. What do you mean? Reed walked to a hidden terminal and entered a series of commands. The facility's walls transformed, revealing thousands of stasis pods, each containing complex quantum technology that the rest of the galaxy believed was beyond human capability. 20 years ago, we detected a temporal anomaly, Reed explained. A warning from a future we hoped to prevent. It showed us two possibilities: reveal our true capabilities and face immediate galactic war, or hide them and prepare for this exact moment. The stasis pods hummed to life, each one showcasing technology that would revolutionize warfare, transportation, and reality itself. But that wasn't what caught Lin's attention. Each pod bore a manufacturing date, from 50 years in the future. The children weren't taken by aliens, Reed said, his voice heavy with the weight of a 20-year secret. They were taken by humanity itself. Our future selves are trying to prevent something far worse than a galactic war. And now, we have no choice but to reveal everything we've been hiding. Above Earth, the human fleet received new orders. Their ships began activating systems that had laid dormant for decades, transforming into weapons platforms that would make the galaxy's most advanced civilizations look primitive in comparison. The real war was about to begin, not against the kidnappers, but against whatever future horror had driven humanity to such desperate measures. The Antarctic facility's quantum computers worked at full capacity, decoding more of the temporal message hidden within the kidnapping technology's signature. With each passing hour, the truth became more terrifying. Show me what you found, Reed commanded, standing before a holographic display that filled the chamber. Dr. Lin nodded, and the air filled with images that seemed to defy reality itself. The images showed Earth 50 years in the future, but it wasn't a future anyone would want to live in. The planet's surface was covered in massive crystalline structures that pulsed with otherworldly energy. Humans walked among these structures, but they weren't entirely human anymore. The quantum integration event, Lynn explained, her voice trembling slightly. According to these records, it happens 30 years from now. The galaxy's most advanced races decide humanity is too dangerous to remain isolated. They force a technological merge, binding their quantum-based consciousness to human minds. More images appeared, showing the horrific transformation. What the advanced races hadn't understood was that human consciousness wasn't compatible with quantum-based minds. The merger created something new, something that should never have existed. The human spirit, Reed said quietly, our creativity, our drive, our capacity for both love and violence, it corrupted their pure quantum consciousness. And their rigid, structured thinking twisted our flexibility and emotional depth. The result was monsters, Lynn finished. Beings with the cold calculation of quantum computers and the savage creativity of humanity's darkest impulses. The display shifted to show the galaxy 50 years hence. Entire solar systems had been converted into computational arrays. Organic life was systematically being transformed into quantum crystal matrices. The merged beings had decided that all consciousness must be upgraded to their new standard. In orbit, Earth's fleet continued to power up weapons that had been hidden in plain sight for decades. What looked like simple communications arrays transformed into reality-warping cannons. Cargo holds open to reveal swarms of quantum disruption drones. A message flashed across every screen in the facility, temporal communication established. Reed straightened his uniform. Put them through. The holographic display shifted again, showing a face that made everyone in the room catch their breath. It was Reed himself, 50 years older, his eyes glowing with quantum energy that hadn't fully corrupted him. You've decoded the warning, the future Reed stated. Good. We don't have much time. The children are safe, we've taken them to temporal sanctuaries across the galaxy. They'll be returned once we've prevented the integration event. Why children? President Reed demanded. Why not send us weapons or technical data? Because children are the key, future Reed explained. The quantum races choose to force integration because they fear human adults, our military power, our hidden technology, our capacity for violence. But they believe children can be safely merged, that young minds will adapt better to quantum consciousness. Dr. Lin stepped forward. The missing children are a message to these races. A demonstration of humanity's true power. Future Reed nodded. Exactly. By showing them we can hide our capabilities, protect our young, and strike across time itself, we prove we're not the primitive species they assumed. We force them to recognize us as equals rather than subjects to be forcibly uplifted. But the galactic civilization will never trust us again, President Reed observed. Trust isn't what we need, his future self replied grimly. We need respect. Fear, even. Because in every timeline where they don't fear us, they try to save us from our primitive state. And in every one of those timelines, the galaxy burns. The facility's quantum sensors suddenly spiked. Multiple ships were dropping out of faster-than-light travel near Earth, ships with signatures matching the most advanced races in the galaxy. Future Reed's expression hardened. They're coming earlier than in our timeline. They've detected your fleet's activation. Remember, humanity's greatest strength isn't our hidden technology or our capacity for violence. It's our ability to be underestimated until it's too late. The transmission cut off as President Reed turned to his staff. Battle stations. It's time to show the galaxy exactly what primitive humans can do. The skies above Earth erupted with light as the advanced race's ships emerged from hyperspace. Their vessels were works of art, crystalline structures that seemed to defy physics, each one larger than Earth's largest cities. In comparison, the human fleet looked crude and primitive, exactly as intended. In the Antarctic facility, Reed watched the tactical display as 12 quantum crystal ships took up positions around Earth. Their design matched the horrific structures from the future images perfectly. They're broadcasting, Lynn reported from her station. The message appeared on all screens: humanity, your recent actions have proven our concerns correct. Your species requires immediate uplifting. Prepare for integration. Reed's response was simple: no. The alien ships began powering up their quantum matrices, preparing for what they believed would be a simple forced evolution of a primitive species. They never saw the real threat coming. Execute Protocol 0, Reed commanded. Across Earth's surface, thousands of seemingly ordinary structures, office buildings, radio towers, even old satellite dishes, transformed. What the galaxy had dismissed as primitive architecture was actually a planetary defense grid, hidden in plain sight for decades. The alien commander's voice carried notes of confusion. Your defiance is irrelevant. Our scans show your technology is barely able to maintain faster-than-light travel. You cannot resist uplifting. Those scans, Reed replied calmly, showed you exactly what we wanted them to show. Let us demonstrate what your scans missed. He nodded to Lynn, who pressed a sequence of commands. Instantly, the quantum energy signatures of Earth's fleet changed. Hull plates shifted, revealing weapons that had been concealed beneath false surfaces. Each ship's true form emerged, sleek, dangerous, and far more advanced than anything they had shown the galaxy. Impossible, the alien commander breathed. Your species, you've been hiding this? For decades, Reed confirmed. Every trade deal where we struggled with basic technology, every treaty where we accepted restrictions, every time we played the part of the primitive species trying to catch up, it was all preparation for this moment. The alien ships began to reposition, but they were too late. Earth's defense grid activated, creating a quantum containment field that trapped them in normal space. No retreat, no quantum manipulation, no escape. You don't understand, the commander insisted. Integration is inevitable. In every possible future we've calculated, organic life evolves into quantum consciousness. We're simply accelerating the process. We've seen that future, Reed responded. We've seen what your forced evolution creates. That's why we took the children, to show you that humanity's apparent primitiveness is a choice. We choose to remain organic. We choose to keep our messy, emotional, imperfect consciousness. Dr. Lin's console lit up with new alerts. Sir, temporal distortions detected. Multiple signatures matching our future tech. The space around Earth rippled as new ships appeared, human vessels from 50 years in the future, their design a perfect balance of organic curves and quantum efficiency. Unlike the horrific merged beings from the corrupted timeline, these ships showed what humanity could achieve on its own terms. You see, Reed addressed the alien commander, we didn't hide our technology because we were primitive. We hid it because we saw what happens when species like yours try to force their version of advancement on others. You create monsters. The future ships took up positions around Earth, their weapons trained on the alien vessels. From their command decks, faces identical to Earth's current population looked out at their past selves with grim satisfaction. This was the moment they had prepared for across decades and timelines. You have two choices, Reed declared. Recognize humanity's right to develop on its own path, or face weapons 50 years more advanced than anything you thought possible. And remember, these are the weapons we're willing to show you. The alien ships hung silently in space as their commanders faced a reality they had never calculated, a primitive species that had outmaneuvered them across time itself. Silence filled the void of space as the quantum crystal ships hung motionless within Earth's containment field. Inside the Antarctic facility, Reed watched the alien commanders debate among themselves through their ships' now transparent hulls. Their crystalline forms flickered with confused energy patterns. They're sending a response, Lynn announced, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface. The alien commander's voice had lost its previous certainty. Your deception changes nothing. Our calculations show all paths lead to quantum evolution. It is the natural progression of consciousness. A new hologram appeared in the facility, the future Reed, but this time accompanied by a small figure that made everyone's breath catch. A child, no more than 10 years old, stood beside him, completely human and untouched by quantum corruption. "Allow us to demonstrate why you're wrong," Future Reed said. He nodded to the child, who stepped forward. "My name is Tom," the boy said, his voice clear and strong. "I'm from the timeline where you forced everyone to change. I was one of the first children you tried to uplift. But something went wrong, didn't it?" The alien commander's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. The integration process was perfect. The failures came from human resistance. Tom shook his head. "No. The failure came from not understanding what makes us human. Watch." He raised his hand, and suddenly the facility's quantum sensors detected something impossible. The boy was generating quantum fields more complex than anything the alien ships could produce, but they were structured entirely differently. "Impossible," the alien commander whispered. "Those patterns, they're organic." "Exactly," President Reed confirmed. "While you were dismissing us as primitives, we were discovering something you never considered: organic quantum manipulation. Evolution on our terms, not yours." The tactical display suddenly lit up with new signatures. Around each of Earth's major cities, quantum fields similar to Tom's began to manifest. The adult population of Earth had maintained their silence not out of shock or grief, but in concentration. Every human on the planet was now demonstrating the power that humanity had hidden for decades. "You thought our emotional nature made us primitive," Future Reed explained. "But emotions, creativity, chaos, these are the keys to true quantum evolution. Your crystalline perfection is a dead end. That's why the forced integration created monsters. You tried to impose order on the beautiful chaos of organic consciousness." The alien ship sensors were going haywire, trying to analyze the impossible quantum fields being generated by billions of organic minds working in concert. What they found defied their understanding of reality itself. "The children weren't taken to protect them from you," President Reed revealed. "They were taken to complete their training. In our timeline, we weren't ready when you came. This time, we made sure every human, down to the youngest child, understood their true potential." As if on cue, the temporal sanctuaries housing Earth's children became visible, dropping their quantum camouflage. Each one pulsed with the same organic quantum fields being demonstrated on Earth. The children hadn't been hidden, they had been the final piece of humanity's preparation. The alien commander's voice had lost all its authority. "This changes all our calculations. Organic quantum manipulation at this scale, it should be impossible." "That's your problem," Tom said, smiling. "You keep thinking about what's possible instead of imagining what could be. That's why humans had to hide our progress. We knew you wouldn't understand until we could show you all at once." Future Reed placed a hand on Tom's shoulder. "So now you have a choice. You can accept that there are paths to advancement you never imagined, or you can try to force your way. But remember, what you're seeing now is still just what we're willing to show you." The quantum crystal ships began powering down their weapons. Across their hulls, new patterns emerged, patterns that mimicked the organic quantum fields humanity was displaying. For the first time in their existence, the advanced races were learning instead of teaching. In the days that followed, Earth's skies filled with a spectacular light show as billions of children returned home. The quantum sanctuaries appeared over every major city, their organic quantum fields harmonizing with Earth's own newly revealed defenses. As each child stepped off the transport platforms, they carried with them knowledge that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of consciousness itself. The Antarctic facility had been transformed into a meeting ground. Reed stood beside his future self as they faced not just the crystalline aliens, but representatives from every advanced race in the galaxy. The quantum crystal ships remained in orbit, their crews now students rather than would-be saviors. The integration protocols have been permanently deleted from our databases, the alien commander announced, their crystalline form now pulsing with patterns that mimicked human quantum signatures. We understand now that forced evolution is no evolution at all. Dr. Lin's console displayed data from across the galaxy. The temporal anomalies were stabilizing, the horrific future of merged consciousness was being erased, replaced by something new and unprecedented. "Tell them what you showed us," Future Reed said to Tom, who had become a symbol of humanity's hidden potential. The boy stepped forward, his organic quantum field visible to all. Human consciousness isn't just compatible with quantum mechanics, it's the key to unlocking its true potential. Your crystalline technology tries to impose order on quantum chaos. We embrace the chaos and dance with it. To demonstrate, Tom created a quantum projection above the facility. It showed the fundamental difference between crystal-based and organic quantum manipulation. The aliens' technology fought against quantum uncertainty, trying to control it. Human consciousness flowed with it, turning unpredictability into possibility. For decades, we hid this knowledge, President Reed explained. Every time we fumbled with basic technology, every treaty we signed accepting limitations, it was all to prevent the very conflict our future selves warned us about. We needed you to underestimate us until we could show you a better way. The alien commander moved forward, their crystalline form now permanently altered by exposure to organic quantum fields. We came to uplift you, but you have uplifted us. Our entire understanding of consciousness and evolution must be rewritten. That's the real gift of humanity, Future Reed said. Not our technology or our power, but our ability to imagine beyond the calculated and the known. Every human child knows that the impossible simply hasn't been tried enough times yet. Across Earth, the silence finally broke. Music filled the air again as parents embraced their returned children. But it wasn't just a celebration of reunion, it was humanity's first public demonstration of organic quantum harmonics. Every song, every laugh, every cry of joy generated quantum fields that danced through reality itself. The temporal mission is complete, Future Reed announced. Our timeline will fade soon, replaced by this better future. One where humanity and the galaxy evolve together, each in their own way, each respecting the other's path. Before the future humans departed, Tom walked up to his present-day parents in the facility. "Don't worry," he said with a smile. "You'll see me again. Just make sure you teach me to imagine the impossible." As the future ships prepared to return to their fading timeline, the alien commander made one final observation. "We thought we were the pinnacle of evolution, but we had stopped evolving. You reminded us that true advancement comes not from imposing order, but from embracing the beautiful chaos of possibility." President Reed watched as the future ships disappeared, taking with them the timeline of horror they had prevented. He turned to the assembled aliens, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's long-hidden truth. "Welcome to the real humanity," he said. "We're not primitive, we're just patient. And now, let us show you what organic quantum evolution really looks like." Above Earth, the quantum crystal ships began to pulse with new patterns, learning to dance with chaos rather than control it. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been waiting for all along.